What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. Okay, let's get a little weekend mailbag at John Middlekauff. Fire in those DMs and get your questions answered on the show. It's not questions from the weekend, but I'm recording this on Monday, about 45 minutes before the Jets play the Dolphins. So let's get in the football mode. We will start with Taylor. Nose itch. Hey, John. Do you think Jaxson Dart is truly special? Or do you think he did really well because there's very little game tape on him? I feel like we've been down this road with other newcomers, guys like the Pastronaut and Jameis Winston. These guys, and many more, were gunslingers before defenses figured out how they were going to stink it up. Do you think Dart is any different than those guys, and why? I honestly, the only thing that you can take away from Dart's first start, gave him energy, has physical tools, but to make, I think he was 13 of 20 for 110 yards. He ran the touchdown, made some good plays with his legs. His best receiver, I just saw a headline about an hour ago. I think the news came out a long time ago. I hadn't really been on the internet this morning. Is what we all knew is that Neighbors is out. So, his best by far, one of the best young skill guys in the NFL is gone for the year. So it's going to be difficult. It's basically him, Scattaboo, and a group of randoms. So I'm excited to watch him play, but I think statistically it's not going to be a great year, and they're not going to win many games. So you almost got to look forward to next year. And listen, he was banged up in the first game. His hamstring was tight. Thank God he didn't hurt his hand. So I would say solid first start, right? The expectations for the franchise are extremely low. Hope the owner, I saw announced that he has cancer today, John Mara. So hopefully he's going to be okay. We know how difficult that can be. He's 7 years old. I've had it in my family. He didn't give us much details, but clearly his best doctor and medical team in New York helping him out. So there's a lot going on with the franchise. Is the coach fighting for his job? But I would say overall solid first start. But I don't know. It's just we got a long way to go before we go, he's the real deal or he's not. Mailbag. This past offseason, I heard a lot of talk about the Ravens and the Vikings roster and how good they were going to be. Mainly the Vikings rebuilt offensive line. We're now basically a quarter of the way through the season, and the Ravens defense and the Vikings offensive line have both been the worst in the league. Are we at the point now where we can say both the Ravens and the Vikings are completely cooked this season, regardless of what happens with the rest of their team? I just don't see how Baltimore can make it anywhere with a defense nearly as bad as the Cowboys, and I can't think of a single quarterback who would be doing well behind possibly the NFL's worst offensive line. Is there any bigger setup for failure than throwing McCarthy out there against Jalen Carter and the Eagles defense with an offensive line that allows 500 sacks per game? Yeah, I would say that welcome to the NFL. Most of these offensive lines in the league are really bad. We have an epidemic, poor offensive line play. No one practices anymore. College is full of spread offenses. There's no developing anymore because training camps are basically walkthroughs now, glorified walkthroughs in a lot of places. This is not going to change. Most people are going to play behind bad offense. Mahomes' offensive line last year was atrocious for most of the year. He's like part of the problem with some of these guys coming from college is his offensive line in college was dominant. He never got touched. I'd say the same thing for Penix when he was in college. I think he got sacked like 8 times his last year at Washington. That's not the NFL. You're going to get hit all the fucking time. Tom Brady was getting peppered. Peyton Manning was getting peppered. And that was when they had better offensive linemen 15, 20 years ago. So it's like, the offensive line thing, like a lot of offensive lines are very hit or miss. Most people don't have the 90s Cowboys operation in front of them. So I feel little sympathy for going, 3 of our 5 offensive linemen aren't that good. Yep, that's welcome to the league. Most people are not the Eagles. I would say the Ravens, injuries. Their best defensive lineman is now, I think I saw today, out. Metabuke is out for the season. Van Oy, who knows? Roquan Smith's now out for several games with a hamstring. Marlon Humphrey's hurt. It's like this is, in the NFL, you need a schemer on defense, but you also need players, right? Vic Fangio's been a good defensive coordinator with Jalen Carter, with Sweat, with Brandon Graham, with good DBs, with Aldon Smith and Justin Smith and Patrick Willis. You give Vic Fangio, me and you can't overcome personnel. So I saw the Ravens last year. By the end of the season, they were a really good defense, and right now they have a bunch of injuries and they stink, and they're really bad. I mean, I think they record for amount of points given up through the first 4 games. But yeah, they got no chance, absolutely no chance to be any good with a defense that putrid. You can't win. You can't go above 500 with one of the worst defenses in the league history. It's impossible because it's impossible to have that good of an offense. Like it's not just like the number one offense in the league. You'd have to have a historic offense to make up for how shitty your defense was. And clearly the Ravens offense isn't that. One question I have, I started listening to you the past month. Appreciate it. One question I have is, do you see the Colts actually competing for a Super Bowl this year or even just an appearance in the conference championship game? After not playing their best against the Rams and still keeping it close, I started to get my hopes up. There was one point yesterday, trying to watch all 4 of the afternoon games, where it hit me like the Colts are really good. They are a really good team, and obviously it felt like they were going to win. I think Daniel Jones has blown me away. I think Jonathan Taylor currently is one of the best players in the league. Tyler Warren looks like a home run draft pick. Defensively, they're pretty solid. Obviously, they had. I got to go back and I must have not been paying attention. Did he drop a ball in the end zone? I didn't. I got to go back and look at that play. I saw the holding where he kind of grabbed the guy's jersey and ripped him down, and Jonathan Taylor had probably, if that wasn't holding, I mean, one of the best runs of his career. It was sweet. Looked like Genty against the Bears. But I'd feel pretty good. We got a long way to go, but I text Coward this like midway through that game. The Colts for the last 5 years have been a quarterback away from being a good team. Now, how good? Conference championship game. It's hard in the AFC. Obviously the Ravens look gone, but it's like, okay, in the second round, you could play the Bills, you could play the Chiefs, you could play a Harbaugh-led Chargers team. It's just going to be difficult. But yeah, I mean, I'd feel pretty confident. Like, you're better than the Jags. To me, Trevor Lawrence is a concern. Their defense actually is pretty good in Jacksonville. Their pass rush is really good. But I just watched Trevor Lawrence and go, I don't see it. I just don't see it. We are extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Everyone knows and loves their hotels and casinos, but now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet sportsbook to place all your NFL bets this season. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states to come. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. As we gear up for the NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. Everyone's shitting on the tush push, and as an Eagles fan, I'm tired of the discourse. Just ban it. We got our Super Bowl, and I'm sure the play will be in the Hall of Fame one day. But one point that people have made, it's just not fun to watch. Or, quote, it hurts the television product and the NFL is an entertainment business. But what I'm not hearing anybody discuss this early in the season is the excessive flags for taunting. It's making watching a game so deflating. It happened to Cooper DeJean on a huge third down stop when he stepped over a guy, then celebrated with his teammates. And to put my bias aside, the week before, Puka made a huge third down catch, flexed his biceps, and pointed to the fucking end zone, and the refs flagged him. Maybe it's because it's September and nobody's really freaking out, but you will see fan outrage. To me, this is way more damaging than a 1-yard play. What are your thoughts? Listen, I've said the same thing for targeting. I'd say the same thing for taunting. Like, unless you do the throat slash or something, taunting. Like, give me this is the NFL. There are millions of dollars in jobs on the line, careers on the line. every single time you buckle that chin strap. Like I just do not understand the over regulation of some of this stuff. And Goodell, like this is a point that I think the owners, like, yeah, I mean, you guys are like 80 years old billionaires, and Rogers is a 66-year-old guy that's been making $50 million for 15 years. I don't think they have a great feel for us, the consumer. I mean, I really don't. So yeah, I mean, I think they overthink this one. Nobody cares. Now, you could go the broken window theory. If you don't just kind of slow it down, it could just get really crazy. Well, it's like have it pretty clear. You can't do a fake gun, you can't do a throat slash. But like, if you want to flex on an opponent, like, give me this is football. This isn't the library. I'm with you. I think it's pretty stupid as well. It's always bothered me, having been someone that joined the Warriors bandwagon when I worked in radio, and I remember going to games with Steph and Clay before they had won championships, and I was like, these guys are awesome. And obviously Draymond has been a pretty big wild card, but he gets a lot of texts for screaming like "F you" at the opponent. And I guess I get it if you say it to the referee, but even then, like, this isn't junior high. Like, this is the big leagues. And I get there's got to be a level of respect, but like, this is not a normal work environment. So we got to have like different standards. Can you please help me understand the Saleh quote unquote legal sign stealing stuff? First off, that's an oxymoron. Secondly, what's the point of him saying that? Gamesmanship, so the second guess clues they think they're getting. I'm really confused about what this was about. I'll be honest, I saw the headlines, but I was traveling on Thursday when Saleh talks, so I was a little out of the loop. And Friday I was at the Ryder Cup, so I wasn't up to speed on that story. And then trying to follow it yesterday with I wish they just would have let him fight a little bit. Like, no, what's Robert Saleh going to do? Swing on him? The league would suspend him. Like, what are these guys going to do? Fight? Like, give me a break. And listen, I like Robert Saleh a lot, but saying I'll end your life, like, no, you won't. You're a multimillionaire. None of you guys are going to do anything. I, and I listen to a lot of 49er stuff. Like, Saleh's the one that created this. When I got in the NFL, the green dot had existed, so the sign stealing stuff that Belichick was doing didn't exist anymore. And Belichick did what every team in the league did. They would get your signs and know your personnel. So if you motion, a right fist up or like a touchdown signal or just whatever with your hands, like a first or third base coach, they would time up your signals with your personnel and potentially the plays you were running on defense or offense with the tape. And you would try to decipher. Now, you could change it game to game. But now, like, if I want a certain offensive personnel group on the field, let's say it's 3 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end, whatever that team calls that. I think Andy Reid calls it like Tiger. That's old West Coast terminology. Well, you would tell the quarterback what the play is, but you would also start screaming whatever that personnel is and potentially use hand signals. So, and vice versa. Like, the defense does that as well. So when you bring in a personnel package, they try to match it with a personnel package. And then based on that personnel package that you bring in on the down and distance, right? So if it's second and long or third and short or in the red zone or whatever area of the field, they have studied throughout the week the tendencies. And in a best case scenario, Belichick style, they kind of know what play you're running. And nowadays, you're taking an educated guess. So I think Saleh's saying that you've been, I guess, breaking down defensive personnel's hand signals, even though I can just say it into the linebackers. Like, I'm not signaling my defensive play call. I'm telling it to the green dot, who then tells the team. But I do signal the personnel we want for guys to run off the field and guys on the sideline to run on the field. But at the end of the day, like, it's not, you can choose to do that. You can choose not to do that. It's not legal or it's not illegal. So I didn't see Saleh's quotes. I know deep in 49er land, people think that Saleh is bitter that he didn't get the Jacksonville job. and he thought he was getting it. Coen was out, and then they fired Balky, and Coen got back in and got the job, and Saleh obviously had to be a defensive coordinator. I would say this from a 49er perspective, like that's a little concerning. This guy just got run out of the building. He's obsessed with being a head coach, and which I get it. We all have our ambitions, but it's why I always thought it's a little disingenuous about like high level college football and pro football. It's like be where your feet is, be present. The coach is always saying that, and they're busy. They're trying to get another job. So I think there are a lot of different elements on this one. The sign stealing stuff is just a stupid comment. I don't even know why he would bring that up. My take would be he hates Liam Coen for some reason. It's just it doesn't seem like him just taking the Jacksonville job would be enough. Maybe there's something else behind it, but I thought it was, bro. You're not a player. What are you doing? Like you're not gonna back this up. What are you gonna do? Fight the guy? Telling him like you can argue Liam yelled at him first, like take my name out of your mouth, which I don't blame him. Saleh did this. Saleh said this. This was something he created. And then he starts saying, like, I'll end your life, which Saleh does kind of look like he's on the juice right now. He's a big guy, but you're going to fight him? I thought the whole thing was kind of stupid, kind of embarrassing for Robert, honestly. Like, bro, you just lost. He just beat you. He didn't beat you. Your defense actually played well, but, like, your team lost. It was a team game or it was an individual game because you're kind of making this about yourself right now. I've been saying all off season and into the season that the Seahawks upgraded at quarterback from Geno to Sam and have gotten pushback nonstop until obviously we've seen what we've seen. Sam put up way better numbers in Minnesota than Geno ever has, period. Why do you think Geno was touted as a better player than Sam when all facts presented to us? Geno has this like, I'm not in this community and honestly don't follow this community that closely, beside like following some of these guys on Twitter. Is the stats, I would say the analytical community of people that talk about football for a living are very high on Geno. I don't know if they still are after the last couple games, but have been kind of, beating the drum for Geno Smith's like a top 10 quarterback. And like he can have moments like he did against the Patriots where he does look really good. But I think over the course of the season, he's kind of average. I'm with you on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was excellent last year, beside like 3 games. And then this year, he looks really good. So I don't even think it's debatable. And then when you factor in the age, like Geno has a big arm. Okay, cool. Throws a lot of interceptions. I know Green Bay is looked at by most to have won the Micah trade, and I think he's a phenomenal player. But is any player that's not a quarterback worth $47 million dollars a year, in your opinion? Dallas is going to have 2 additional first-round picks over the next 4 or 5 years on rookie deals, plus $47+ million per year to spread around the roster. It actually doesn't, it's not that simple like basketball or baseball, but I know exactly what you're saying. They actually don't have, they have, they gave Micah what, $125 million guaranteed? Like they have that guaranteed money to spread around really. So it's more than 47. I guess it's just different, but I know what you mean, and you're not wrong theoretically. I said this when they traded him. He's a really talented player, and no one is better. He's a very natural pass rusher, and obviously his ability to run you down and use athleticism. He's a special athlete. But this was not trading for Reggie White in his prime. He's not remotely, and this is more of a compliment to Myles Garrett, but he's not Myles Garrett. And if you're going to go all in on him, like the only way for this to work is your team has to me, minimum get to the NFC Championship game. And to me, he's got to have 15 to 20 sacks and be one of the best players in the league. It's like, what was that last night? Now, maybe he banged up his back, but you need like dominant performances. And that's a classic game. It's like, okay, our defense is playing like crap. Our defense looks like the Cowboys. And listen, it's football. Sometimes you have weird games. High school, college, pros. No one's immune to this. Right? You just have a weird game. The Dak's playing well. Brian Schottenheimer's calling a good game. Okay, cool. Well, Micah did have one huge moment where he stopped Dak for the, probably would have scored. I don't think we know for a fact, but let's just say he would have scored. He tackles him, and ultimately that led to the field goal that led to a tie. But how there weren't like 4 or 5 more of those moments where maybe he creates a couple sacks. And instead of the Cowboys driving down the field and getting a touchdown, Micah has like two sacks on a drive and gets them off the field. And that's the difference in the game. Like they needed that last night. It's not about Micah versus the Cowboys. It could have been any team in that situation. It's like, okay, Micah, we gave you $188 million. dollars. You're going to see every penny of this contract. Can you just make some crazy shit happen? And he just couldn't. He just didn't really. So I would say if I'm a Packer fan, I was like, God, I mean, we need a little more from you. With so many people focusing on the Eagles' offensive struggles, it has been underrated just how awful the defensive backfield is. Adoree Jackson and Ringo may be two of the worst players I've ever seen. That being said, would you consider Quinyon Mitchell an early Defensive Player of the Year candidate based on how much they rely on him? I was kind of going back and forth audio between the morning games and one thing because part of listening to the audio is just it's why primetime games, the job I do, are just easier to do because you're just getting more information. And like when a guy gets injured, like you just might not, if you're watching silent and you're watching other games, you might not realize what's going on. But they said that he was following around. It looked like Chris Godwin in that game. And that's usually something Fangio doesn't do. I would say this: most defenses do not have two good corners. You guys were pretty lucky, and you could say Saleh was slipping a little bit, but obviously Slay's been a really good player. If you have two, I think Mitchell is a high end corner and has an opportunity to be one of the best players at his position for his career. But like you can't pay all these other players. You're paying your offensive line, you're paying the wide receivers, you're paying your quarterback, you're paying your running back. You paid the linebacker, you've invested draft picks in the defensive line. Like you're going to need some random guys to play some of these other positions. So I don't really know what. You're not going to have a perfect roster. There's no such thing as basically in the salary cap situation that all these teams are in to be like, yeah, we have no weakness. So you're going to have a shitty corner. And ideally, your pass rush gets there. Safety help can help. But I listen, Adoree Jackson and Ringo, you could sign other guys from the practice squad, but this is going to be like, it's just going to be it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And you can win a Super Bowl. Your offense needs to clearly play better, but like teams have won Super Bowls with average second corners. Can I tell you about my friends at Mando? Here's the thing. Summer is upon us. Where I live, I think it's 110 degrees today. And I'm a sweater. And I don't like smelling. So the key with Mando and their deodorant, it has sweat control. So not only does it block the odor all day, but it controls my sweat. I don't like to just be soaked if I'm just walking outside to grab something out of my car. And here's the thing. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So all the products, they're baking soda free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji is the one I use, or just the go-to pro sport. Want to try America's number one whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers around the country. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid starter deodorant, cream tube deodorant, two free products of your choice, like Mini Mando body wash or deodorant wipes, love those, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use the code JOHN, that's JOHN, at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits, baby. Smell great doing it. Hey, John, love the pod. The special teams around the league has been either really good or god-awful. As both Iowa and a Packers fan, I was hurting last night watching the way the game played out because I got spoiled with the literal best special teams play in college football at Iowa and some of the worst special teams play watching the Packers. Would it be an unreasonable idea for Gutekunst to get on the phone with LeVar Woods today and to essentially what they did with Hafley a year ago? I would imagine, is that the Iowa special teams coordinator? You paid Rich Bisaccia, I'm sure, a lot of money. He's probably one of the highest paid special teams coaches in the league. And Like there is clearly these field goals getting blocked, PATs, field goals. I don't ever remember anything quite like it. I don't know if it's some of the players are not focused on that play, but there are lanes these guys are getting through that it's forever when a field goal got blocked, it'd be like, oh, it was off Calais Campbell's 6'7"'s fingertips. You're like, what a play. Now it's like there are three guys right there to block this thing. And how often lately has the dude that blocked it just been like right in front of the kicker and picked it up? I mean, the one the Eagles had against the Rams, the guy that blocked it takes out the holder, and Jordan Davis is also right there, who I'm pretty sure blocked an earlier field goal, him or Jalen. They're just constantly around the kicker. So I don't know. Listen, I'm more Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur. I don't like special teams either, but that's not my job, right? Most of us, we take piss breaks when special teams comes on the field. If you're the head coach, kind of matters. I would say Rich Bisaccia's spot. The amount of pressure that's on the Packers right now is immense. These guys are coaching and GMing for a contract extension. They just made one of the boldest moves in the history of the franchise, definitely financially. And, I mean, when's the last time the Packers I just don't remember them doing anything quite like this. If you think about, like, what were their two most important moves defensively over the years? Well, Reggie White was a free agent, so they didn't have to give up any draft capital. And so was Charles Woodson. So it's like they didn't trade for those two players. They traded for Favre. They used the 24th pick on Rodgers, the 27th pick or 29th pick, whatever it was, on Love. But like they traded two first rounders and gave this guy $188 million. So it's everyone better be on edge there, starting with the special teams coach. Figure this shit out. Simple question. If the offense continues to sputter in Philadelphia, and it's clear, Patola, not sure how to spell it. He put an O. I think it's an A. And it's clear he needs to go. Does Sirianni even take a chance at calling plays? If not, then who? LOL. I would say this. I didn't know this last night when I was recording, but I guess A.J. Brown, I saw some people say A.J. Brown's the first guy that puts his fantasy numbers ahead of winning. Clearly he's not happy, which in a weird way I kind of understand. You know, you're one of the best players at your position. They can't get you the ball. Your quarterback's throwing balls all over the place. It's like, I'm a champion now. I'm trying to be a legend. Throw me the fucking pill. And I got an offensive coordinator that the offense looks dramatically worse. The quarterback's confidence looks shaken. Thank God for the tush push. But it's like A.J. Brown has a chance to make it weird. You know, I mean, let's face it. Brandon Graham said what he said. We all believed him. They can try to erase what he said, and he could even run it back. Like, he was being honest. In that relationship, something weird is there. Now, when you win a Super Bowl, just like you could have a weird relationship with a partner in business, if you have your best year ever financially, you're going to deal with them. Well, then when someone feels slighted or not getting the credit or maybe makes a little bit less money, like problems arise. Problems come back to the surface. And for AJ, you can call them selfish like receivers are. They're very selfish. Part of the deal. And you think, well, he won a championship. He's being paid a bunch of money. He clearly wants the ball. He wants the rock. And the offensive coordinator and the quarterback are not getting it to him. And when you're a guy like that, it looks like your quarterback in the offense is averaging like 150 yards passing a game. I don't even know if it's that high. People are going to get edgy. Honestly, it's the most interesting thing about the Eagles. You're going to learn not to disrespect, in all caps, the Los Angeles Rams. We pulling up to SoFi North and winning a chip. Go ahead and bet on that 49ers clown. Add that to your mailbag, nerd. You know, I don't think of all things I've ever been called, and I've been called a lot of things on the internet and social media streets. I don't think I've ever been called a nerd, which honestly I take a little bit of pride in being called because that means you think I'm intelligent. The reason I've never been called that is because I don't think most people think like, God, Middlekauff's pretty smart. But I appreciate it. And I don't think it's SoFi North, given that the 49ers typically sell out your building, which I would imagine on Thursday, even though I think they're in a little trouble because of the injuries. Did Sunday night's game just prove that the NFL should swallow their pride and adopt the college football overtime rules? This question, same thing. It is fucking dumb for a game to end in a tie, and the NFL should do something about it. They should at least come up with some sort of tiebreaker. Even just having each team take turns kicking 50-yard field goals until one of them misses. Or the NFL could just be smart and adopt the OT college rules. I do believe, if you think about basketball and baseball, it's impossible to end in a tie, right? Baseball, because no one except Bob Costas wanted to watch games till 2 in the morning, started putting a runner on second. In basketball, you just go 5 minute quarters and you just try to end the thing, right? And in football, in the regular season, like ending in a tie, it's better than a loss, right? But if you're the Pack, so for the Cowboys, that they can win 6 games and be 6-10-1, which actually will cost them draft position potentially. And for the Packers, this could be the difference of not winning that game could be the difference in winning the division. Uh, I'd have no problem with college football overtime rules. I think a lot of people would push back. I'd be all for it. I'm cool with it. I'd even just do this. How about like you get a 2 point, both teams get 2 point conversions? I'd be cool with that. It's like, listen, that's not the way the game's played. Well, you had 60 minutes to determine it. So now it's time to fucking end it, right? That's why I was for the runner on second base. We've watched 9 innings and no one can win. No one wants to keep watching this thing go for another 6 innings. Put a runner on second. Let's play, score some runs, and get the hell out of here, right? I'd say the same thing for college. Everyone's like, I hate the college rule. Well, they had 60 minutes to someone to win the game and no one could. So now it's time to determine this thing quick, especially in a game like football where physically it takes a toll on you. I'd go right to just each team gets a 2 point conversion, and first team to either get stuffed or whatever. Right? I make, you miss, I win. I make, you make, we get another round. I'd be fine with that. I don't want to hear that's not the purity. The purity of the game is the actual game. What is with the sudden obsession with changing field goals? We're getting longer kicks every year and more blocks than ever. I couldn't think of a more on the edge of your seat ending if I tried. Kicking is skill position like any other and is neither automatic or random. The best receivers drop balls, the best quarterbacks miss throws, and the best kickers miss kicks. All the while, if your offense or defensive line sucks, it'll blow up in your face, much like any other play. Leave field goals alone. I agree. I don't. What are people talking about? Getting rid of field goals? Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's an exhilarating play. I think two things have been changed dramatically. I think the PAT moving back, and Belichick gets credit for that one, is just adds a little excitement. You never know. It's a little bit longer. You can miss. Obviously, the block potential and the kickoff rule is dramatically more entertaining. One, we're getting returns, which we just simply were not. And two, their strategy. You see some of these teams do these like weird kicks and the guys don't know how to field it. Some of them try to angle it, kick out of bounds, you get it at the 40. If you kick it too far, they get it at the 35. Just become an intriguing play. And that was easily a couple years ago the most boring play in the NFL. Yesterday, I missed a play and I look up, I come back from the bathroom, and the Jags are at like the 50-yard line. I'm like, how did they get there? Because they returned it like 54 yards. Maybe they were at like the 40. I mean, it was like, how did they get there? And that's the thing. It used to just be like automatic kick in the end zone, kneel at 20-yard line. If we want to score a touchdown, we got to go 80. And if we want to kick a field goal, we got to go like 40. Now it's like if you just break one tackle, you're already at like the 40-yard line. And some of these kickers are so good, you really just have to go like 15 yards. So you can get in field goal. You could have 26 seconds left on the clock at the end of the first half. And if you have a decent return, you can easily get in field goal range. Shit, Brandon Aubrey, you just have to get to like the 50-yard line. So if I get to the 35, I really just need one explosive play. Two, I have a chip shot for him. But I hear you.